And then on Block Gemara, today's daf is daf Lamed Hey. It is Erev Chanukah. It is Erev Chanukah. And yeah, so interesting Chanukah. We light a total of 36 candles besides the Shamash. Right? 1 plus 8 is 9, and divide that, and there's 36 candles left. And divide that by 4, and then the mathematical formula. Progressive numbers. The idea of 36 candles is that 36 Masechtas and Shas that we have. And when it says that brought light into the world, bring light into the world, is that Stavka through learning Torah Shabbat Peh. Chavivin alai divrei seifrim, arevin alai divrei seifrim, yoisem meyenes al Torah, because the Gemara illuminates the Torah Shabbat Ksav. That's what explains in Tanya how without Torah Shabbat Peh, Torah Shabbat Ksav is a closed book. And that's what Chanukah is all about. The 36 Masechtas. Even though we say Goyin is Gematria 60, because on 60 Masechtas, that includes all the Mishnayos. As a Machlekes of 60, 61, 63, depends on Bava Kama, but Matzir Babasha is considered one Masechta, or is it considered two Masechtas, and there's another two Masechtas that we argue whether they're one Masechta, two Masechtas. So that's the argument, if it's 60, 61, 63. But the reason the title Gon came from the idea there was 60, and somebody knows all 60 Masechtas, including Mishnayos by heart, they're gone. Today, if you know there exists 60 Masechtas, you're ready to go. Okay, we're talking about Lamed Hey, Lamed Aleph. So we learned basically in the Mishnah that there's certain activities, the behemoth behaves in a certain way, and the person does the same thing. The animal will be liable, and the man wouldn't be liable. In the case, for example, where, let's say, the animal goes ahead and gores the parents of this man, they have to pay for it. But if the man, kills his own parents, he'll be chayiv misa. So come lebe derabbaneh, he doesn't have to pay any money. Same thing, if you light a fire on Shabbos, the animal will have to pay a keren. It's not normal, but a person lights a fire on Shabbos is chil Shabbos. Says the Gemara, and we explained that means the animal is like the person. There are situations where the animal is like the person had intention, and we talked about the shoy pikeach, as Rashi says, the shoy chach. We're talking about a very clever shoy. Says the Gemara, about 10 lines on top of the page. How in the world can you understand the Mishnah when you said should be doing day? That we're not comparing a person to a shoy. We're comparing. Remember, we had a machlekes if you have to have intention when it comes to burning something constructive. We're comparing the shoy to the person. It says that if a shoy causes shame, he's potter because you have to have intention. But who should buy is chayiv? But if a person causes shame, he'll be chayiv. Now, you're telling me that the case of shoyr, if he's chayiv, that means he has to have intention. That means the shoyr also has intention. Give me an example where a shoyr does harm, and intention is to humiliate the victim. How do you find that? Even a shoyr chacham, but to have emotions like that? Because the Gemara keep going, no intention to necessarily shame. You had intention to hurt. And shame is included in hurt. Because we learned this you intended to harm. Even though you did not intend to cause shame, but because your intent was to harm and the consequence was shame, you're already liable. So the Gemara, Rabba says, really I can say, getting back to the original question, you said that according to Rabbi Yechon, the only time you're liable for destruction for negative things is if you have a mind for something positive. You need the ashes, so you need something positive out of the whole thing. So we asked a question in the Mishnah, if you're comparing the person to the animal, the way we originally learned, when does an animal light fires for something constructive? Says Rabbi, Masnisin b'shoigeg. Now this is very interesting. Rabbi says that our Mishnah is talking about you had no intention whatsoever. It was a shaygig. You lit a fire on Shabbos, let's say you had no intention. Yeah, that was the answer where we learned yesterday, that the animal is similar to a person. A person is only liable if he had intentions. So we asked, how can an animal ever have intentions? So we said, yeah, you lit a fire so you can roll in the ashes and cure himself of his itch and so on and so forth. Now, we're changing around and saying, no, the person is compared to the animal. If the person is compared to the animal, so an animal is, lit a fire, has no intentions, and yet, you have to pay. And you tell me if a person lit a fire with no intentions, still says you come a drabbin. What kind of come a drabbin if you had no intention, Michal Shabbos? We're going to follow the opinion we had in Ksubis, that this din of Kalam B'Drabbanah is not only when you actually get punished with the severe punishment, death, even if you committed Aveda, B'Shoigig, had it been done b'mezid, you wouldn't have to pay. So even if you did it b'sheigig, you don't have to pay. So chayav and misa sheiging, you don't have to pay. And that's so Taki, the man also did not have intention, like the animal. But since he did a maisa on Shabbos of lighting a fire, had he done this b'mezid, he would have been killed. So that even if he did not do b'mezid, did it b'sheigig, the din is that the same din applies. Come levi rabbana, you don't pay money. Says the Gemara. The Tanna v'chizki learn maka adam and maka behem. It's possible we compare a person and an animal. So maka behem shamena maka adam yumas. Ma maka behem loy chilaktaba. When I'm saying the animal causes damage, makes no difference. Ben shegi ben mezid ben miskam intentional, unintentional doesn't make a difference. Ben derech yerida, whether you turn the hammer down, ben derech aliyah, that you lifted your hand and you hurt. In all instances, you have to pay. You have to pay. Is the same thing. Maka Adam says, Maka Adam, you must, you kill a person, you get killed. Also, there's no difference because we're equating the two. Like the Chalik by Ben Shagig, Lemezi, Ben Miskava, Shem Miskavan, Ben Derechedi, Lechalia, Lechaiva Mammon, Elapaita Mammon, all is the Pata Mammon. As long as the you did an act, had it been done by Mezid, you would have received the death punishment. Come live with your Rabbi. So same over here. The man had no intention of lying the fire. He's like an animal, but still you put from paying money on Shabbos. And how can you learn that way? Pshat in the Mishnah. So clearly in the Mishnah, why are you potter? Because you're going to be killed. So how can you tell me the case in our Mishnah is the person lit a fire on Shabbos b'shegi by mistake? But it's clearly in the Mishnah because you're getting punished. This is what he meant to say. Even the b'mezid not the menashe, had he done his b'mezid, and there were witnesses, and he was warned, he would have been received capital punishment. So the and had to be in a constructive way. So Hashta now b'shegig had no intention and wasn't getting punished, nothing else. Nevertheless, potter, because the act itself, if it had been been potter, so too over here also potter. Okay, now we're introducing the idea of Hamaisi B'Chaveri Olvaraya, which is the principle throughout Shas. That is, if I ever want to extract money from you, the laws of probability are not good enough. I have to have strong evidence because you have a thing called a cheskes moment. The money is sitting by you, possession is 9/10 of the law. Whether that's a logical thing or whether that's just a fact of life, it doesn't really matter at this point. The point is, if I want to be mighty, exactly. The onus is on me. I have to prove that it's my money. That's how we hold. But later on in the Gemara, we have a story where in the next parak, and this is introducing into the next parak, going into the next parak, and that is that if a cow gored another, let's say another cow, and then the cow miscarried and the cow died and the fetus died, the question is, was the fetus there already before the first cow gored him? So the first cow is not responsible? Or did the cow, by harming the other cow also cause the fetus to be lost? He has to pay for both things. So says Sumchis, so Chama say, well, the Nizik obviously claims your fault. The Nizik has somehow or another, the burden of proof is on him. He has to prove that the other animal gored and caused this to happen. However, Sumcha says, Momen hamutul b'safik cholkin. Sumcha says, since we don't know what happened there, is cholkin. So the question is, and this is an argument, and the halacha is like a chabim, but the question is, Sumchas, his view of cholkin is that only in that case there, because neither of them really know what happened. No, they weren't there. Nobody really knows. Each one's guessing, obviously to benefit themselves. So since in the Indian itself says we don't know, so we divide. What about in the case where we're both arguing? You say, "Buddy, definitely my animal did not gore your calf. I was there, I saw." And someone says, "Definitely you did." Would Sumcha still say in this case we don't know? We're a bezin. How do you know who to believe? So therefore, bezin should pass in cholkin, or in this case, it's a different story altogether. The Sumchas will read abundant. You're saying, "Buddy," he's saying, "Buddy, forget. What should we do?" You prove that this is what happened. So it's not clear in an argument whether Sumchis is talking about dafke when it's both shemas or even when it's body and body. Okay, so now we're going to learn our Mishnah. Our Mishnah is going to expand on the concept of Mezich Raya, and the Gemara is going to want to know whether our Mishnah goes according to everybody, or our Mishnah is only following the Chachamim, but Sumchis would argue on every single law in our Mishnah. So we're going to give a number of examples. Case number one. Shor A chased Shor B, Vuhuzik, and Shor B got hurt. So the owner of Shor B says, your animal caused my animal to get hurt, pay me. No, your animal got hurt on a rock. What's up to me? Interesting. Rashi says over here, got hurt on a rock. He was rubbing against the rock. So therefore, he got hurt. In other words, it's not my fault.
What's it got to do with?
While I was chasing, while shirt A was chasing shirt B decided to scratch itself on the rock. No, according to Rashi, if shirt A agrees that shirt B, fell over a rock because my shirt was chasing, you would have to pay, even though it's like a grum in a way. Others disagree. Others learn to know that even if shirt A caused shirt B to fall down, the fact that shirt A didn't directly harm shirt B, he only caused it to happen. So the question is that called garmi or garama? Is that like a direct causation or is that like an indirect causation? I'm running after you and you trip and you hurt yourself. Can you turn around to me and say, I'm totally my fault? Or say, look, the fact that you tripped, I didn't make you trip. I caused you to trip because you're running from me. Okay, so that's din number one. In this case over here, we don't know what happened, stone, not stone. Okay, the nizik has to prove what happened. Case number two. Two people were chasing after one cow. Two cow A and cow B were chasing, and each one had a different owner chasing cow C. Cow A says, cow B, you caused the animal harm. Cow B says to cow A, your animal caused the harm. They both prove who's chayiv. Again, what happens? Both cows belong to the same owner. What in the world does that mean? If both cows, A or B, they chase C, we don't know which one did it, A or B, but they both belong to the same owner, then they're both chayiv. What do you mean both chayiv? There's only one damage and one cow got hurt. We'll see in the Gemara later what it means. It's true of time. But we'll see later in the Gemara what it means is because by a time you only get paid from the animal. What happens if one of the animals disappear? What if one of the animals disappear? Can you collect from the other animal because it's the same owner? Or we say no, because maybe it was that animal. And therefore you only collect megufa from the animal itself. Okay, let's continue. Case number three. There were two cows. One was a big, hefty cow worth a lot of money. Remember, by a time you only pay from the value of the cow, not a penny more. Even if the value of the cow ends up being less than half of the damage that was done, too bad. You don't get paid a cent more. So what happens? There were two cows. One was a gadol, a large one, so worth more money. And these are going gadol. It was a larger cow. Pay me the full chatinez. But it was my small cow that caused the damage. And obviously, there are no traces and you couldn't do any scientific tests. So therefore, you get paid whatever the cow is, and even though half the damage was a lot more, too bad. Or echad tam bechamud. There were two animals. One was a tam. They both belonged to the same person. One was a mood. And these are going a mood. The mood did it, so pay me my full damage. No, kill tam music. Now it's very important. This wording loy ki sounds like it's a buri. He's not saying Shema, maybe my other cow. He's saying, no, it's not what happened. This is what happened. So that's why the Gemara is going to have a tendency to learn. This mission is talking about buri or buri. Each one's claiming for a fact, or at least definitely the mazik is saying for a fact. No, this is what happened. It's a buri. So we'll see whether Sumchas has anything to say in this mission. Yeah, but if mazik is saying, how do I know that maybe it didn't happen that way? He's not saying maybe it didn't happen. True, but at the moment you're paying only half, and hope the animal doesn't do it they'll do it again. Case the next case. There were two victims. There were two victims. One was a very expensive animal, one was a cheaper animal, small one. There were two mazikin. The nizik says godel, hizik's a godel. The cotton has a cotton. They both can belong to the same owner. But key, but the cotton kid the godel. Too bad you only get whatever the cotton is worth, not a penny more. And the godel is a cotton, and you'll get your full compensation. How much money you get? If it's a tam and the animal's worth $50.
You have some choice between the two animals, $150 worth of animals. That caused
what happens to different owners?
I thought that same money.
No, okay, so different owners. And also no, even the same owner. Exactly, there's a cap here. Let's say if the big one hits the small one, you'll get whatever the damage is, $50 of damage. The large one has $500 of damage. The small one was only worth $200. Exactly. Two animals, one was a tamud. And Nizik says, he's a godel, the tam's a cotton. Pay me full for the godel and pay me half for the cotton. But Mali was like, no, the tam is a godel. The tam's only hurt the godel, only getting half of the damages. The mood is a cotton. Says the Gemara, why does the Mishnah have to go through all of these steps to tell you? We have the principle of the Mishnah trying to tell you something. And that is, I only can make one conclusion. Chalukim olav chavedav al sumchas. That this mission is trying to tell us we do not follow sumchas. That means even in these cases, sumchas would say divided in half. So the Mishnah goes out of its way to tell you no. In each case, hamayz chavedav v'raya. The Amar was of Chalkin. That Sumcha says if there's any doubt, we just make a compromise. We divide. You pay only half the amount. But over here, in Amish Chacham, will argue and say, you prove that I owe you money, otherwise I pay nothing. Baba Mama Chibarabba. Omar Sumchas Afilu body. I understood the Mishnah says Chibarabba that the Mishnah is talking is talking about case of body. It says loy ki, right? Sound like body. Are you now telling me clearly that Sumchas is not only arguing in the later case where they found the fetus next to the little baby calf, and the question is the first cow guilty or not guilty? In the case of Shema, you tell me that Sumchas argues even body. He says no. You split it in half. Is that what you tell me? In yes. Sumchas afilu body. He says yes. I believe, and I believe that Sumchas holds that even body you divide equally. Now the Gemara wants to know why do you think that I'm talking about body? How do you know I'm about body? The Tony says this guy says you're animal damage. The words loy ki is very emphatic. It's not maybe, perhaps. No, it definitely did not happen the way you say that. Masculine Papa. So Papa says, if you're going to tell me our Mishnah is talking about a case of bari, then you have to fit into every case. If body, then all the cases are talking about similar circumstances. So every case is what's the argument? One guy says definitely this would happen, and the other guy says definitely this would happen. So that's how you learn Pshat in our Mishnah. It's talking about bari. That's how Abba Mama learns. So let me ask you. Masculine Papa asks, but the Reisha body, and the Sefer Nami body. All the other cases are each one is emphatic. Ema Sefer. Let's look a little later in the Mishnah. Large animal, small animal. Mizagoyim Godel Hizik, or Mazagoyim like Kiel Cotton Hizik, the smaller one. Echad Tam Echad Mu'at. So we're talking about two different animals, not arguing about the same animal, but the situation. We're talking about two different animals. And the Nizik says that animal did it. And the Mazah notes this animal did it. Now, what's the thing? We're going to have Gemara Shavuos, an interesting concept. We know that if I'm moeded b'miktzas, you ask me for $100, and I say, look, I only owe you 50. I pay you the 50, and I have to swear on the rest, right? Moeded mixes. If a partial admission, then the Torah says, "Ki who's there?" Part of it is that I admit, yes, I owe you. The other one is who I don't know what you're talking about. It never happened, so you have to swear. By Shomrim, it says you have to swear. We'll see later in the Bava Kama. So now, what happens if I say you owe me $100 worth of wheat, and you tell me you owe me $50 worth of barley? Is that considered moeded mixes? 100 value of 50, but I'm says Chacham say I was a kaifer hakal on what you demanded. You said I owe you wheat worth $100. I said I never borrowed from you wheat, so zero. I'm saying that I owe you $50 worth of barley, but you the lender say never happened. You never asked me for barley, so I'm potter. Gamliel says no. You still have to swear it's a moeded mixes. Why? Because you don't look at the fact, you look at the quality. You look at the eichus, not the kamas. The eichus was $100 worth. This represents 100. This represents 50. So I'm moeded b'miktzas. I have to swear. And the Chumzah, you look at the kamas. Look exactly what you're asking. You're asking. Bottom line is, what happens? Forget about moeded b'miktzas. I come along and say you owe me this, and the other guy I say you owe me $100 worth of wheat, and I said to you, no, I don't, but I owe you $100 worth of barley. No moeded b'miktzas. Stop. Rabbi Bar Nosson says in this case of here, I owe you nothing. Why do I owe you nothing? Why do I owe you? I owe you nothing in that. Why? Because some Amraim say you are clearly saying to me that I owe you wheat, but I don't owe you barley. So even if I owe you, you're meichel me right now because you said nope, all you owe me is wheat, but I'm denying a kaifer hakal on the wheat. So what do I have to pay you? Nothing. Okay, so let's look at our Mishnah. If you're talking about body, let's look at our Mishnah. Yeah, all the demanding. That's tantamount. He didn't say that. If he would have said, "Look, I'm going to go," that's the next case. He didn't say that. So it's tantamount to being my. Says the Gemara. Okay, so the papa for Mishnah, my body. Let's look at this case. But two different animals. One's a muid, one's a tam. Nizigayim a muid. Hizik, but mazigayim a loikiel a tam hizik. Sounds like what happens if the nizik cannot bring in the raya? What happens then? Holoi ma'ised raya. Shokil kidama mazik. He gets paid, But how much? The mazik says I'm paying you only with the tam. The nizik claiming it was the muad. No, not the tam. The mazik says it was the tam, not the muad. So if I cannot bring any proof, so what I do get paid, but not only as if a tam did it. But according to Rabbi which is according to Rabbi who says that if you ask me for wheat and I'm made to barley, I pay you nothing because you're moichel me the barley and the wheat I deny. How come you're paying? If the mazik says the tam did it, the nizik says no, it was definitely the muad. So it's as if as if I'm being moichel the tam did it, and all I'm asking for the muad, you're okay for hakol, pay nothing. If it's to my body. Says the Gemara, it sounds like shkil kedam mazik. Number two, about kasher rabba nasan. He says, you asked me for wheat and I'm made in barley potter, and here you're paying. Must be the body v'shema. It must be our mission is not talking about body and body. I disagree. Our mission is talking about when one guy says definitely this what happened. The other guy says, how do I know? Maybe the other way happened. So you want to ask the karma body man, who's the one who's saying definite? Or the karma shema man, and who's the one who's saying maybe? Let's go through the mission. He named it the karma nizik body, but he said definitely it was your mood that did it. Or karma mazik no shema, maybe the tam did it. Okay, so what happens if the nizik cannot prove anything? Then the nizik pays according to the mazik's claim that maybe it was the tam. So he's still paying money. Still kasher Rabbi Nassan who says that if you're not admitting to that, it's as if you're being moichel me. If the nizik is saying definitely it was the muad, that means he's saying definitely it was not the tam. So why pay anything? Why should a mazik pay? Lame, but you have to do the Rabbi Nassan. Even greater question. Elo, so what are you going to tell me? The karma nizik shema. The nizik says maybe. Or karma mazik body, and the mazik says definitely. So the Nizik said maybe, and the Mazik said definitely. And therefore we say, since the Mazik says definitely it was a Tam, the Nizik is not disputing that. He said maybe it was the Muad that did it. So at least he gets paid as a Tam. He was never Moichel, he's just saying, how do I know? So with the Sefer Nizik Shemba Mazik body, the Reisha Nami, then go back to the beginning of the Mishnah, where I said that your animal hit a rock, and you said, no, your animal was one gored my animal. So the Reisha Nami, Nizik Shemba, so both we talk in the same case. Well, the Nizik is saying Shema maybe, and the Mazik is saying body definitely. The Amma Sumchis, I just realized my video was not on. I just turned it on. The Amma Sumchis says Afilu Baha, and Sumchis says if the Nizik says maybe your animal did it, and the Mazik says no, definitely was hit by a stone. Are you going to tell me that Sumchis in this case would hold that you pay half, that you divide a compromise? The Mazik says definitely was hit by a stone. Then he says, I don't know, maybe your animal. Why would Sumchis in this case say you divided evenly? In this case here, surely the Nizik comes up with some idea, claim with no basis. He has to prove it. I feel Baha, the Yitzchak mean the lie. Would Sumchis argue and that Chacham would have to say, no, you don't have to pay? Well, in this case, it doesn't make sense. In a body in Shema, I can understand that Sumchas argues that both don't know what happened. So he says divide. Or they both claim this is what happened. We don't know what to do. So we say divide. But in a case where one guy says, definitely, I don't owe you the money. The other guy says, maybe I do owe you the money. And Sumchas would argue, say, divide it. That doesn't make sense. Does he come out? Amri, body, Vishema. Yeah. So my answer is, sorry. Like, Sefer, they're both body shemas, but it's different person saying the body and shema. The Sefer is talking about the Nizik says shema. The Nizik says maybe it was the muad, and the Mazik body. The Mazik no, definitely was a tam. The Reisha is talking about that Nizik says body, that it was your animal that did it. Mazik says shema. How do I know? Maybe it was a stone. And that's the case we're talking about here. It says the Gemara. And Sumchas argues on these two cases. We say, you know what? You should split it equally. And the Rabban say no, says the Gemara, how can it be? She's swapping around. Amri body v'shema. My answers. Body v'shema shem body chad milsi. The principle that one of them is definite and one of them is saying maybe is the same principle. Who's the one that says definite? Who's the one that says maybe? It doesn't really matter. But body, and shema body 10 million. But to learn that one part of the Mishnah is talking about a case where they're both saying definite, and the next part of the Mishnah is talking about one guy says body and one guy says shema, where there are two different animals, a tam and a muad, and so on. To say no, that's one body and shema, don't do Rabbi Nassan, that the Mishnah does not flow. The principle is totally different. So let's analyze with this Rabbi Nassan. Go for Rabbi Nassan. And you demanded wheat, and he was made it to barley. Potter, he's potter. My Kamash, what's it telling us? Tanina. It's a Meferish Mishnah. It says in the Mishnah, Potter. We learned already other places this concept. What's Rabbi about nothing adding? No. You don't have to pay what he's demanding for you, the money, the value of the wheat. But the value of the barley, maybe you should pay, even though it's less. Comes along Rabbi and says no, because he's meichel you on what you're admitting to. So let's go through our Mishnah. There were two victims. Echad Gadol, one lamar small. It sounds like has to bring a raya. The Nizik's claiming more. Bring a proof. Haloi ma'aseh raya. Shakol kedon mazik. Doesn't bring a raya. He collects, but not from the muad, but from the tam. Amai chitim v'soyninu. When it answers, doesn't mean he collects. Ro'li till the ainloi. He should collect at least from the tam, but he won't because he was moichel. But then we learned that's clearly that he does get paid out. The tafas, if he grabbed it. If you go to a Rav, the Rav will say, sorry, he was meichel you on the wheat. It's tantamount. But once you took it in possession, you could say, look, he wasn't openly meichel like you said. He wasn't openly meichel. Maybe he was going to dispute me that as well, so therefore I can keep it. You prove that you were meichel me. Time we learned back to our Mishnah, one of the time Muad, Hanizig game and Muad, he's a gadol. The time is a cotton. Right? The Nizik says the Muad killed the large one, pay me full amount. The time is a gadol, Muad is a gadol, the time did the large one. Sounds like Hollow Moshe, you're running a proof. Shokil Kidon Mazik, you collect the way the Mazik claims, at least from the time. But my chitin v'sayin is as if since I'm only the man, I'm claiming it's the Muad who did that, that's what I'm saying, but the time didn't. So we answer little thing, not that he's going to collect. He should be able to collect, but he won't. He won't collect because he's meichel. But then it says there that you get paid out. The tafa, same thing. It was typhus. Should we just go to the end of the Masechta already? And the Pedic. We'll go quickly. Both cows belong to the same person, and they committed one damage. You just know which one it is. They're both chayiv. What do you mean they're both chayiv? They're both tam. What do you mean both? There's only one of them pays. If two animals tam cause damage, then then the nizik has a right to collect from either one. In other words, if one of them got lost, he can always go to the other cow and collect from that one as well. It says both are obligated. We don't know which one did it. Who said you're getting paid from the animals themselves? Who said we're talking about tam? Talking about a muad, therefore it makes no difference which animal did it because you collect from the owner himself, from his assets. Talking about even more, we're talking about muad and Amos say, look at the next case. Two animals, one large, one small. The Nizik says, Godel, he's a mazag and Malek yellow cotton. And he said, hey, he was the large one who did it. And they would pay me full, much more money, there's no cap. And the other one's another small one did it, and too bad there's a cap. Now even more, even more, who cares what the value of the animal of the mazik is? Because safe, the maid told him, when it comes to a muad, the owner of the muad has to pay the full damage, regardless of what his cow was worth. So what's the difference here, Godel cotton? Obviously, talking about the tam. You're right. Safe was definitely betamin, but why can't it be the reisha b'muadin, the reisha about a muad? And therefore, in the reisha, as a muad, no proof. If one animal got lost, you still collect by the other animal if it's a tam. The old man says, Ravashi, even more than Chayavin, if we're talking about Muadin, what do you mean both animals are Chayiv, or when Chayavin, Chayiv, Gavrim Boiler? There's only one person who's paying. What the mission says, Shneim Chayavin. All it should say is the person has to pay, regardless. Exactly. So my Shneim, what do you mean both are Chayiv? You're not collecting from the animal. Obviously, La'ilam B'Tamin. We're talking about the animal Tamin, so you collect from the animal. We're following Rabbi Kiva. Rabbi Kiva, the Ahmad, he holds should fininu had a machlekes Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Kiva. Does the nizik have a chelik in the animal of the mazlik or not? According to Rabbi Shmuel, you owe me a loan. According to Rabbi Akiva, no. Now the nizik has a chelik in the animal, the partner. So therefore, the timer, these both animals are there, and we don't know which animal did the damage. So therefore, the nizik will get paid out. The lemotzi matchli, you can't say, oh, the other animal did it because they're both here. One animal disappeared. The mazik says the nizik, you have the reason why I'm paying is because you're a chelik in it. It's your animal that disappeared. The one that was shutfusin disappered. You go prove the high toida asker, prove which animal was, and the animal remaining here is the one that we live in, and I will pay you. Hadin haloch hamaniach will continue tomorrow, Mitzvah Shem.